And fans and YouTube fan, welcome back to the channel for another edition of the DaVon Lewis Show podcast. Thank you guys for coming through for the channel, making this your go-to spot for weekly wrestling breakdowns, hot takes, and everything in between. If you're new here, smash the like button, turn on post notifications. I'm your host DaVon with a review for this week's episode of NXT, which was live from the CW Network and Netflix streaming service for May 20th, 2025, which just concluded live yesterday from the WWE Performance Center. Let's go ahead and get to the show. Appreciate you guys coming through. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into everything that took place with NXT as we had Sean Legacy defeating the likes of Javon Evans, Ashanti Adonis in a triple threat match with a lovely torture rack neck breaker. And overall, the match was good. It was everything that you truly could have asked for from these three men. They put on a clinic and a whole lot broke down when it came to the post match, as we had Ethan Page and Ricky Starks got into a brawl, and the staff had to break everything up. But in the overall, a whole lot of distractions afterwards. But in overall, it was great to see the new upcomer Sean Legacy getting the victory over those three top performers when it comes to everything. Not three, but more so two when it comes to Javon Evans and Ashanti Adonis. But what was going on with Ashanti Adonis? I guess he moved on quickly when it came to his ex-girl that he had fling with, and pretty much he already kissed the new girl directly in the fans. And the entrance was kind of a little cringe, but in overall, it was all right for the was. Javon Evans is working his way back into the spotlight of getting back into that world title spot. But in overall, it was calm, cool, and collective, and it was good stuff seeing those three men put on a clinic. Then we get a lovely vignette from Jordan Grace ahead of her match against the NXT Women's Champion Stephanie Valkyrie, where she vowed to walk out as the champion at NXT Battleground, and she stand on business. She's someone you don't want to sleep on, and she's a great opponent when it comes to the NXT Women's Champion. But more importantly, she's looking to begin her limelight of being on top of the division. More importantly, Stephanie's someone you don't want to sleep on as well, as she's been handling the division for quite some time after being a double champion. She relinquished the NXT North America champion, and she went on to pretty much beat some great women on the way to becoming a champion. So it's going to be a tough challenge when it comes to Stephanie Valkyrie figuring out how to deal with Jordan Grace. But in overall, the promo was good, and I look forward to seeing a little bit more of what's going to happen on the NXT Women's Division as it completely continues to step up. Lola Vashi spoke with Stephanie Valkyrie regarding her match with the NXT background before the Fatal Influence, Fallon Henry, and Jason Jane interrupted. This led to a match between those two being made official later on in the actual night. Then we had Trick Williams. He came out to do his actual performance, and the song was called Average Joe. It was basically a dedicated diss track to Joe Hendry. The crowd got into it, and overall, it was a nice beat. I enjoyed the whole entire presentation. When it came to Trick Williams, he was holding his own when it came to the mic skills with the 2-on-2. But in overall, it was a great little diss when it came to Joe Hendry. Then we had Sean Spears along with Nico Vance and Brooke Jensen and Izzy Dame as he defeated Joe Briggs via pinfall with the lovely inside cradle to secure the victory after a lot of great back and forth, great transitions, and I enjoyed the overall presentation of the match. Then we had Thea Hall. She was sporting an eye patch. She was trying to console Tatum Paxley after losing her closest friends, but Jada laid her out and handled business. Tatum was asked, "Do you want to be my friend?" And of course, Jada Parker said heck to the no. She wasn't feeling it, and she walked away, leaving that programming peaking up, as now it looks like it's going to be Jada Parker versus Thea Hale. And I'm all for it, and I look forward to seeing what actually may transpire with those women. Then we had the lovely members of the tag team division of OTM, Bronco Nima and Lucien Prince, defeating Chase Hughes members of Ura Connor and Kel Dixon, with Andre Chase being there, but it was a nice combination move of an Alabama slam into a spinebuster combination for those boys to pick up the victory. What more you got out of it? A whole lot more, but it was a lot of back and forth, and it was great. It was great seeing Chase U being back into their transition of how they go when it comes to being in the ring. But more importantly, when it comes to OTM, they have been holding their own. And it's great to see them back in the swing of things after being out for quite some time. But OTM is looking to get that momentum and step up into the tag team division. As well, when it comes to Yura Connor and Kel Dixon, they're being great as well for everything that you could ask for when it comes to Chase U. But I look forward to the programming continue to transpire when it comes to the near future, and it should be good just from my own personal opinion. And then we get to Miles Bourne and the NXT champion having a face-to-face collision course right before they go battle at Battleground this following weekend, which should be a great title match. But Femi had a whole lot to say as he let Bourne know directly offhand about his story, while it was so inspiring, but also delusional at the same time, and he would defeat Bourne. Bourne came across and said he had hard hearing, but if Femi underestimated him at Battleground, it will be the biggest mistake, and he will walk out directly as being the new NXT champion. After they had their peace and respect and Bourne left the ring, things broke down in quickness as we had Jasper Choi from WLFG putting the beat down directly on Obafemi very quickly before and leaving the ring, but it left a whole lot on the table as we have new winners of the new WLFG tournament, and it was nice for the men's and women's division. But Jasper took no prisoners, straight to the top, going after the big man, the ruler of NXT. And it's going to be interesting to see how that programming come to a head when it comes to the next couple of weeks. But Jasper is going for the biggest dog in the tank, and he's been looking good, and I can't wait to see those two clash in the long run in the near future. Speaking of Ricky Saints and Ethan Page, they argue back and forth, but Ava really makes it official. She was high, she was upset, she was over the situation that pretty much had happened. What I mean to be in her high, this is the maddest we actually seen her actually get when it comes to talent. But she made it where Ricky Saints is going to defend the NXT North America title against Ethan Page next week. And that was the only way she was able to go sell it between those guys, of not tear up her office or cause more turmoil week after week, and that was the only solution. Then we get to women's singles action. Lola Vice defeated Fallon Helen after a great pinfall, a lot of back and forth, but Lola took care of business with the back spin fist. Lola has been missing for a little bit, but it was nice to see her back, getting the momentum back on television, especially getting the big victory over Fallon Henley, somebody we never thought we would see take the L. But we see the little things of what's going on with Fatal Attraction, as things are not Fatal Attraction, but Fatal Influence, as the cracks are starting to pick up a whole lot more when you see these ladies. The situation still could be very, very interesting, but I look forward to seeing what may happen. Are they officially going to break them up? And I think it will be good for them, because all those three ladies are great talent. When you think about Fallon Henley, JC Jane, and Jasmine Nix, they all can do very well when it comes to their careers. And then I think it's about time for them to finally spread their wings and be their own ladies when it comes to the women's or the North America Championship for the women's division. And I look forward to seeing what may actually occur. Then we get to Kelly Knix, who interviewed the NXT Women's Champion Stephanie Valkyrie. She details her trials and tribulations to becoming the owner of Lucha Libre and to arrive in NXT. Valkyrie says Grace will be her toughest challenge whatsoever, and if she takes things to a course, she will burn the flames and reaches to close to her hell herself to handle business and to defeat Jordan Grace. But in overall, what I was talking about earlier, those ladies are going to put on a clinic. That's probably going to be the best match of the night, but I look forward to seeing what those ladies can put together and push forward for the actual women's division. Then we got Dark State, Dion Lennox and Saquon Sugars and Coder James and Iris Griffin. They do a vignette. It was all right. It wasn't too much to be noticed, but it was calm, cool, and collected for what it was. But those four look like they're looking on continue to do their terror work of taking out anybody that comes across their path. But in the overall, I'm not impressed yet when it comes to those boys. Hopefully they continue to show me something that will keep me interested. But if not, I'm going to push forward and put cancel culture when it comes to this lovely Dark State as to this actual stable. Then we had Kalani Jordan defeating Zarya in singles action, who was accompanied with Sola Ruka after a miscommunication, as Kalani was able to get the victory via school roll-up. and was able to secure the victory for the women's division. But what's going to happen now that Kalani Jordan is official number one contender for the actual championship, as she's looking to go against Sola Ruka? But where does Zarya go from here? Lately, it's been a lot of miscommunication. If we're going to get Zarya to turn heel, I'll be okay with that. I'll be actually excited to see what may transpire out of this whole entire drama. But we got to stay tuned to see how the women's division shape up for the North America Championship for the women's division. And it's going to be good from my own personal opinion. Then we get to Joe Hendry, who had a concert dedicated to Trick Williams. He called it Mellows B from what it was. He included footage of Williams running the Haunted House in 2021 edition of NXT at Halloween Havoc. He also took shots to offense to different things, which caused the offense of Trick Williams to come out, caused a brawl between those two, and Joe Hendry ended up standing tall, getting the best of it when Trick Williams was trying to go for a trick shot and got blasted with a guitar across his knee and got hit with that standing ovation choke slam. And Trick Williams was laid out for a good little minute as the credits rolled through, and everything was calm, cool, and collective what it was. And I enjoyed the whole entire presentation when it came to that ending. But in overall, ladies and gentlemen, we come down to the closing of the actual show. Don't forget, next week we have the TNA Championship that will be on the line at Battleground. We also got the NXT Heavyweight Championship that will be on the line, as well as we're gonna have the big man Obafemi versus no other than the big man, who continues to be the Randy Orton prodigy of the NXT division. If you guys are truly familiar with him, you know when it comes to Miles Bourne, he's going to be good when it comes to the television. Don't forget to miss the NXT Women's Championship, which will be no other than Jordan Grace taking on Stephanie Valkyrie in a banger Women's Championship, as well as other matches that will be listed on the card. But we're down to the wire when it comes to this actual show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the whole entire presentation when it comes to NXT. Don't forget to catch NXT's next week's show, as the NXT North America Championship online, as Ricky Saints will take on All Eagle Ethan Page, which should be a really good one for NXT next week. But there you guys have it for this week's edition of NXT with a lovely review. And overall, I'm going to give the show a solid 8 out of 10. Some great in-ring work. The few storylines moving forward when it comes to this following Sunday night's Battleground, which should be a great show, directly available on the Peacock Network or Netflix, depending on where you actually stream it for. But in overall, should be a lot of fun when it comes to the overall presentation. But more importantly, post your comments down below. Let me know what you guys have been feeling about the matches, the feuds, everything thus far this following week. More importantly, if you made it to the end of this video, hit the like button. If you enjoyed this review so far, more importantly, don't forget to subscribe for more wrestling content every single week. Until the next episode, I'm your boy DaVon. You have been watching the DaVon Lewis Show podcast with another review for NXT. Until the next episode, I'll catch you guys later. You guys be safe.